Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into, well, the playbook of the elite manager, specifically the IT leader who's right in the middle of that high-pressure balancing act.
Yeah.
Combining the need for serious speed and agility, DevOps, CI/CD, all that, with the absolute non-negotiable requirement for service stability and governance, ITIL territory.
That tension, that's really the defining challenge for tech leaders today, isn't it? What we've done is look at sources that synthesize the strategies, the processes, even the psychological tools that top IT execs use to navigate this pressure cooker. Our mission here is really to show you how successful high-velocity change isn't just one thing. It's multi-layered. You need mature processes, a deep understanding of human psychology, and increasingly advanced tech and automation.
Right. And when you look at how organizations try to structure this balancing act, the first thing that really jumps out is this massive philosophical shift. For years, decades even, the standard was change control. And that term, it just sounded like bureaucracy, didn't it? Like a big stop sign.
Oh, absolutely. It had that connotation of being a bottleneck, of hindering progress. And that's precisely why ITIL 4 made such a deliberate pivot. The official term now is Change Enablement. They actually rejected the word control because of that negative baggage. Enablement signals a completely different strategy. It says, look, we're here to maximize the number of beneficial changes that get through, but safely and efficiently. It's about weaving governance into the delivery pipeline, not bolting it on afterwards.
So the goal becomes matching the level of rigor to the actual risk. You can't treat, say, deploying a whole new application server the same way you treat a routine firewall update.
Exactly. And that means ditching the old one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, you adopt these 3 tiers of change. The vast majority, the day-to-day stuff, that's handled by standard changes.
Okay, standard changes. What falls under that?
These are your bread-and-butter tasks. Low risk, they're pre-authorized because they follow a well-documented, tested process. Think password resets, maybe routine patching within certain parameters.
And this is where the speed really comes in, right?
Yeah.
I saw some sources mentioning staggering efficiency gains here.
Oh, absolutely staggering. Some large orgs report automating up to 70% of these standard changes. That means they're approved, deployed, everything, without a human manually touching a thing in the approval workflow.
Wow. And that frees up, well, it frees up your smart people to do other things.
Precisely. If you eliminate 70% of the manual checks, your skilled engineers, your managers, they can focus on the hard problems, the novel situations. That remaining chunk includes normal changes. These are the non-routine ones. They need some kind of formal review, a risk assessment.
Ah, okay. And this is where the old Change Advisory Board, the CAB, used to get involved with everything and slow it all down, waiting for that weekly meeting.
That's the classic bottleneck Change Enablement aims to fix. It introduces the idea of the change authority. For lower risk normal changes, maybe a minor app upgrade, something predictable, the authority can be delegated. It could be a single manager, maybe a peer review group, or even automated based on risk scores, the full formal CIB meeting. That gets reserved for the truly high-risk, complex stuff. Major infrastructure changes, core security adjustments, things with potentially huge impact.
So the CAB transforms from being like a traffic cop for every single patch,
Yeah.
to more of an executive risk committee, focusing only on the really significant risks.
That's the idea. It's a fundamental shift in how you use senior expertise. It's revolutionary, really. And then finally, you have emergency changes. These are implemented immediately to fix a major incident. Think critical service outage or maybe a 0-day exploit patch.
High urgency, bypass the normal flow.
Exactly. But elite managers use this category very carefully. If your organization starts labeling everything an emergency just to speed things up, well, you get that cry wolf syndrome. People stop taking it seriously and your governance kind of falls apart. It has to be reserved for true emergencies.
That makes total sense. Okay, so that's the process side, kind of the ITIL framework, but you mentioned the people side. And this is where, things often fall down, right?
Oh, absolutely. Here's where it gets really interesting. Once you've optimized the workflow with something like ITIL 4, the sources are pretty clear. The most common reasons changes still fail. Almost never purely technical. It's the human element. Resistance to change, poor communication, maybe just a lack of desire to learn the new way.
So the best managers, they get this. They need to speak both languages, process and people.
Exactly. We call them methodology bilingual. They use the technical frameworks like ITIL for the workflow structure and risk management. But simultaneously, they're applying human-centric models to guide the emotional and organizational journey. You have to manage both.
Okay, let's dig into that. The individual journey first. I saw the Prosci ADKAR model mentioned a lot.
Yes, ADKAR is key. And the core idea, you see it repeated, is simple but profound. Organizations don't change, people do. You change an organization one person at a time.
So ADKAR is the tool for the manager working directly with the team.
Precisely. It's the bottom-up tool. It gives that manager 5 sequential goals, like stepping stones, to guide each individual through whatever the change is. First, you absolutely need awareness. Do people even understand why this change is necessary, why the old way isn't working anymore?
But just knowing isn't enough, is it? I might know the old system stinks, but if the new one looks like a massive headache for me.
You hit it right there. That's desire. The crucial, what's in it for me, or why should I support this? Awareness gets their attention. Desire gets their buy-in.
Okay, awareness, desire. Then comes the how.
Right. Knowledge. That's the training part. Do they know how to operate in the new way? Followed closely by ability, can they actually implement those skills effectively? This is where practice, coaching, support comes in. It's not just about classroom learning.
And the last one, reinforcement.
Critical. Making the change stick. Providing positive feedback, recognizing success, addressing any backsliding. Otherwise, people naturally drift back to what's comfortable the old way. Reinforcement cements the new habit.
I really like the diagnostic aspect of ADKAR you mentioned. It's not just change failed, it's, okay, we stalled at the desire stage. People understand the need. They even got the training, but they don't want it because leadership didn't sell the benefits properly.
Exactly. It turns finger pointing into targeted problem solving. We need better communication on the why for this team. Or this group needs more hands-on coaching. They have knowledge, but lack ability. Now, ADKAR is very much focused on the individual contributor at the team level, but for big, sweeping changes, you also need that top-down view.
And that's where Kotter comes in, Kotter's 8-step process.
That's the one. It's designed for large-scale, leadership-driven organizational transformation. Kotter is about creating the sense of urgency across the whole company, building that powerful, guiding coalition of leaders, forming the strategic vision and communicating it effectively. It's the macro strategy.
Okay, hold on. Let me play devil's advocate here. If I'm already juggling DevOps pipelines, ITIL processes, incidents, and now you're telling me I need to track ADKAR for individuals and Kotter's 8 steps for the organization, doesn't that just become overwhelming, more checklists?
That's a really fair question. And the key isn't about managing 3 separate administrative checklists. It's about synthesis. Think of it this way. Kotter sets the stage. It creates the environment, the why, the mandate from leadership. ITIL gives you the risk-managed how-to for the technology delivery itself, the safe workflow. And ATR is your toolkit for ensuring that people successfully adopt the change at the ground level. The elite manager isn't buried in spreadsheets tracking 80 different steps. They understand that each model addresses a different dimension of change risk. Strategic risk, Kotter, technical process risk, ITIL, and human adoption risk, ATIL.
Okay, I see. It's about being fluent in these different languages of risk and change, not just administering them blindly.
Precisely. Fluency, not just administration.
Speaking of fluency under pressure, that sounds absolutely exhausting for the manager, which brings us to the manager themselves. If you're dealing with this complexity, constant meetings, stakeholder pressure, trying to synthesize these models, your own personal state, your capacity, that has to be critical, right? How do they even survive?
It's a critical, often overlooked factor. They have to view their own time, their focus, their mental energy as a resource that needs active management and defense. It's way beyond basic time management hacks. They really master their clock using techniques like time blocking and deep work.
Explain that a bit more. Deep work. Is that just catching up on email without distractions?
Oh, definitely not just email. It's scheduling specific non-negotiable blocks of time, maybe 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, for the really complex, cognitively demanding tasks. Things like mapping out dependencies for a major release, writing a really clear communication plan for a tricky change, doing a thorough risk analysis. These are the tasks that get destroyed by constant context switching. If you spend 5 minutes on risk analysis, then answer a Slack message, then glance at email, then try to get back to the risk analysis, the cognitive cost is huge. Deep work blocks protect that focus.
And I saw the 1-3-5 rule mentioned. It sounds very practical for daily planning.
It is. It forces ruthless prioritization, which you absolutely need in a high-velocity world, every day. Commit to finishing 1 big, significant task, 3 medium-sized tasks, and 5 small, quick tasks. It forces you to consciously decide what's actually important versus just urgent. Otherwise, the small, urgent stuff will completely swamp the strategic work every single time.
Okay, so that helps manage the workload. But what about when things inevitably go wrong? A change fails, an outage happens. The pressure must be immense. How do they maintain composure psychologically?
They use intentional mental tools. One really powerful technique is cognitive reframing. Think about it. A buggy deployment causes a service outage. The immediate natural reaction is often panic, right? This is a disaster, heads will roll. The
Right.
skilled manager consciously reframes that thought. Instead of disaster, they might frame it as a stress test of our rollback procedure or a valuable learning opportunity about this system interaction.
And just changing the label like that, what does it actually do?
It interrupts the immediate threat response, that fight or flight reaction that floods your system with adrenaline and actually impairs higher order thinking. By reframing, you shift from pure emotional reaction to a more rational response state. You can then focus on problem solving, root cause analysis, coordinating the fix rather than just panicking.
That's really interesting. And related to that, I saw mentions of thought labeling and diffusion. Sounds a bit therapeutic.
It draws from techniques used in acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, but it's incredibly practical. When a really unhelpful spiraling thought pops up, maybe anxiety, like, this whole project's going to get shut down because of this bug, you mentally label it. You say to yourself, okay, I'm having the thought that the project will be shut down. You don't argue with the thought, you just label it as a thought. This creates a little bit of distance. You see, it's just a mental event, not necessarily reality. It diffuses the power of the thought, allowing you to respond rationally to the actual situation instead of getting swept away by the anxiety.
So managing their own mind. And tactically, managing their workload through delegation seems key too.
Oh, massively important. They leverage that change authority model we talked about earlier. By delegating the approval for standard changes and even low-risk normal changes to maybe junior managers, team leads, or even automated processes based on risk scores, they free up their own limited time and attention to focus only on those few high-impact, high-risk changes that truly require their strategic judgment.
And they don't just wait for problems to land in their lap. They manage interactions proactively.
Yes, absolutely. Instead of waiting for that potentially contentious CAB meeting where concerns pop up for the first time, they're out there building relationships. They talk to stakeholders informally before a change request is even formally submitted, address concerns early, understand perspectives, maybe tweak the proposal. This pre-work, this proactive engagement, dramatically reduces friction, cuts down on long arguments in formal meetings, and lowers the political risk.
Okay, so they've managed themselves, managed the people side. Now let's talk precision execution. How do they sort through the sheer volume of change requests objectively? It can't just be based on who shouts loudest.
No, definitely not. That's chaos. They rely on established, objective prioritization frameworks.
The classic impact versus effort matrix seems like a go-to tool here.
It's fundamental, simple, visual, and effective. It gives you 4 quadrants. You immediately want to identify and tackle the quick wins, high impact, low effort. Best bang for your buck, builds momentum, makes everyone feel good. Just as importantly, though, is identifying the bottom right quadrant, low impact, high effort. These are the thankless tasks, the time sinks. The elite manager is ruthless about challenging these. Why are we spending so much energy on something with so little benefit? They often push to reconsider or just deprioritize these entirely, freeing up capacity.
Makes sense. And for controlling the scope, especially on bigger projects, the Moscow method seems crucial.
Oh, essential for scope discipline. Must have, should have, could have, won't have. At least not this time. The real power of Moscow is forcing upfront agreement on what is truly non-negotiable, the must-haves. Where the elite manager really shines here is their discipline in limiting the number of must-haves. They prevent scope creep by ensuring that category stays lean and focused on core requirements.
So all this process discipline, psychological awareness, prioritization,
Yeah.
it's impressive. But achieving the velocity that modern IT demands, none of this seems possible at scale without serious technology help.
You're absolutely right. Technology is the accelerator. It's what resolves that fundamental tension between speed and stability we started with. Modern ITSM platforms and, the ServiceNows, the Jira Service Managements of the world, they are the engine for this. They provide the automation for all those standard changes we talked about, taking them completely off the manual path. And critically, they elevate the quality of risk assessment.
How do they get risk assessment beyond just like a gut feel or a simple checklist?
They move towards data-driven risk assessment. The platform can analyze a proposed change, who's asking for it, what systems does it touch, who's assigned to do the work, what's their track record. It compares all that against historical data of past changes, which one succeeded, which failed under similar circumstances. Then, the tool can generate a predictive change success score or flag potential risks based on patterns a human might miss. It's far more objective and often more accurate.
Wow, okay. That leads directly into what feels like the next frontier, predictive change intelligence, using AI and machine learning.
Exactly. AML is shifting the whole game from being reactive, just approving or rejecting requests, to being truly proactive, even preventative. AI models can analyze a proposed change against vast data sets to predict not just the likelihood of failure, but potential downstream impacts on other services, identifying complex interactions a human reviewer might easily overlook. Imagine AI flagging a subtle conflict between a planned database schema change and a recent microservice update that nobody explicitly connected.
And even more proactively, I saw mentions of AI and ML tying into IT operations management, ITOM systems.
Yes, this is really powerful. The system monitors operational health things like memory usage creeping up, unusual API call patterns, degrading transaction times. Instead of waiting for it to break and cause an incident, the AML engine detects these early warning signs and can automatically generate a request for change, RFC, to investigate and fix the underlying issue before it impacts users.
Initiating the fix before the break occurs. That sounds like the holy grail.
It's where things are heading. And for organizations deep into DevOps, there's a key integration point: deployment gating.
Okay, explain deployment gating. How does that bridge the DevOps speed with the ITIL stability?
It's the technical handshake between the development pipeline and the change management process. The automated CI/CD pipeline, which developers use to push code quickly towards production, is configured with a specific checkpoint, or gate. Before deploying into the live production environment, the pipeline automatically pauses and checks the ITSM system. Is there an approved change request corresponding to this deployment? Only when the ITSM tool confirms the change is approved, whether automatically for standard changes or manually for normal emergency, does it send a signal back, usually via API, telling the pipeline, okay, you're clear to proceed. This embeds governance directly into the automated flow. You get speed and control without forcing developers out of their tools or adding manual delays for routine stuff.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot. There's a structured process with ITIL, the human psychology with ADKAR and Kotter, the manager's own survival kit, precision execution, and now this tech acceleration. So, stepping back, what does this all really mean? Why go through all this complexity? Is it just about having fewer failed changes internally?
That's part of it, but the ultimate goal is much bigger. It connects directly back to the customer, because service stability, keeping things running smoothly, is the absolute foundation of customer trust and a positive customer experience. You can have the fanciest features, but if the service is down because of a bad change, none of it matters. And the sources consistently point to a truly staggering statistic. Poor change and release management is estimated to be the root cause of up to 80%, 0% of all reported IT incidents and issues.
80%.
Yeah.
Just, wow. That single number basically justifies this entire complex playbook we've just discussed. If you get change management right, you potentially eliminate the vast majority of IT problems.
It's a direct line to improving almost everything else. It has a massive ROI. And that's why elite managers track success using a balanced scorecard of KPIs. They look internally, of course, using risk and quality KPIs. Things like the percentage of failed or backed out changes, or the number of incidents directly caused by changes. Those need to trend downwards.
But they also need to show how that internal improvement translates to business value, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. They connect the dots using business impact KPIs. They correlate their improved change success rates with external metrics like higher user or customer satisfaction scores, CSCT, better service level agreement, SLA performance, increased service availability percentages. They're demonstrating that rock-solid operational stability, driven by excellent change enablement, isn't just an IT cost center, it's a strategic advantage that directly benefits the business and the customer. You see real-world examples, too, like WorldPay reporting, huge ROI, over 100% from analytics tied to improving change performance and the resulting productivity boosts.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up our deep dive here, the core message seems to be that elite change management in today's high-velocity world is this really disciplined blend. It's ITIL 4 structure providing the guardrails, it's human psychology models like ADKAR and Kotter managing the people journey, and it's intelligent automation and ITSM tools providing the speed and precision. The goal isn't just managing changes project by project, but building this enterprise-wide capability for continuous, resilient transformation.
Well said. And maybe we can leave the listener with this final thought to chew on. If we accept that figure, that poor change management is the root cause of maybe 80% of IT issues, then what percentage of your current organizational challenges, the persistent bugs, the friction between teams, the resistance to new tools, maybe even just burnout, are actually symptoms of an unmanaged people side of change? That lack of individual awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, or reinforcement. Could that be the hidden bottleneck you really need to focus on unlocking next?